Well, hey, friends, welcome to our second week of special services and my shorter online devotional around love based on 1 Corinthians 13, 1 through 13. Now, as I said, I'm going to read the whole passage again this week, but I'm going to really focus on verses 4 through 8a, that first part of verse 8. So here's what Paul says to the Corinthians. Paul writes, "If I speak in the tongues of men or of angels, but do not have love, I am only a resounding gong or a clanging cymbal. If I have the gift of prophecy and can fathom all mysteries and all knowledge, and if I have a faith that can move mountains but do not have love, I am nothing. If I give all I possess to the poor and give over my body to hardship that I may boast but do not have love, I gain nothing. Love is patient, love is kind. It does not envy, it does not boast, it is not proud. It does not dishonor others. It is not self-seeking. It is not easily angered. It keeps no record of wrongs. Love does not delight in evil, but rejoices with the truth. It always protects, always trusts, always hopes, always perseveres. Love never fails. But where there are prophecies, they will cease. Where there are tongues, they will be stilled. Where there is knowledge, it will pass away. For we know in part, and we prophesy in part. But when completeness comes, what is in part disappears. When I was a child, I talked like a child. I thought like a child. I reasoned like a child. When I became a man, I put the ways of childhood behind me. For now we see only a reflection as in a mirror. Then we shall see face to face. Now I know in part. Then I shall know fully, even as I am fully known. And now these three remain: faith, hope, and love. But the greatest of these is love." This is the word of God for the people of God. Thanks be to God. With Valentine's Day this week, I want to address the attitudes that you have about other people in your life. Now, I know some people just irritate the daylights out of you, and others are precious. But even the folks who irritate you should be loved. And please note, I am drawing a distinction between liking someone and loving someone. In this sense, loving someone is about treating them with dignity and kindness. It has nothing to do with intimacy. Paul reminds us to be patient and not easily angered. Can you imagine the feeling another person would have if we truly listened to them without becoming anxious or trying to one-up their stories? If we didn't try to shut them up or seem disinterested, how much more would they feel appreciated? I'll even venture into some deep water here and remind you that love rejoices with the truth. As I'm writing this, we are about a month into social media no longer fact-checking posts. For the vast majority of my Facebook friends and the groups I follow on social media, this isn't a problem. There have been a few times that facts get stretched, where truth isn't honored, where something absolutely false has attempted to masquerade as truth, and it harms the trust we have. You know, I think of the old telephone game where you whisper something to one person one time, and it gets passed down to the end of the line, whispered from person to person one time only. And at the end of the line, Paul saw a loon becomes Paul is on the moon. It doesn't take much for our facts to get twisted. So let's work hard to keep truth, true, and love for one another alive. Paul finishes with these three words: love never fails. And I think, at least to some degree, we misunderstood Paul's words. We can point to times where love has failed. We think about breakups we've had, some more significant than others. The way love has both waned and grown over the years. One person writes, "It's hard to continue to choose to love, especially in a world that has mass-produced more toxic individualism than ever before, on such a scale that it's hurting us as humans more than ever. And yet Paul's words still ring true, don't they? Love never fails, especially God's love for us. Love, especially God's love for us, reminds us and calls us to express that same unselfish agape love that we have received. We didn't earn it. We don't deserve it. We can't even really expect it. But God still loves us. His love never falls away. And he calls us to offer the same level of agape love to others. So, just like last week, here are 2 questions for you to wrestle with. How have you been patient or impatient with another? How are you working to keep love, this unselfish, expecting nothing in return love, alive in your life? Now, next week, we'll be back to our regular format as we learn about being powered up. And if you want a little homework assignment, check out Luke 6, 12 to 19. That's what my sermon's based on next week. See y'all then. Bye.